Something has shifted between William and Kate, and people sensed it long before the media started analyzing it. For more than a decade, the couple built a public image of unity, moving in sync, finishing each other's sentences, and sharing small, warm gestures that showed how close they were even under intense scrutiny. But lately, their presence feels different. Not broken, not cold, just changed. And once you look closely, the signs are everywhere. Their posture, their expressions, even the way they walk into a room, everything seems to be sending a new message. The question is, why now? The earliest hints of this change weren't dramatic moments, but subtle shifts that only longtime royal watchers picked up on. During a series of engagements earlier this year, Kate carried herself with unusual restraint. She kept her arms closer to her body and avoided the light, spontaneous touches she used to give William when cameras weren't focused on them. William, on the other hand, stepped forward more assertively during greetings and conversations, often answering before Kate had the chance to speak. These were tiny movements, but they contrasted sharply with the effortless team dynamic people were so used to seeing. Fans who followed every appearance immediately felt something was off. Then came the moment that truly caught the public's attention. During a high-profile outing, Kate appeared calm on the surface but noticeably withdrawn. Her smile looked measured, controlled, almost rehearsed. William, usually relaxed and slightly playful during public events, seemed more guarded. Instead of casually glancing at Kate to check in, as he had done hundreds of times before, he stayed focused straight ahead, responding to reporters in a clipped, formal tone. Commentators couldn't ignore it. They said it felt like the couple had suddenly moved into separate emotional spaces, no longer mirroring each other the way they once did. But this wasn't a random shift. Much of the tension around their public demeanor began when Kate faced significant health challenges earlier in the year. For months, the palace shared almost nothing, leaving the public in the dark and fueling speculation. During that silent period, William took on an overwhelming amount of responsibility, caring for Kate, supporting his children, and stepping up in royal duties. That kind of pressure doesn't just disappear. It settles into a person's posture, their tone, their presence. William began carrying himself like someone who had suddenly aged 10 years in a matter of months. When Kate eventually returned to public view, her transformation was even more noticeable. She appeared slimmer, quieter, and more deliberate in every gesture. Her expressions were softer but more reserved, like someone who was protecting her energy. Body language specialists pointed out that Kate's movements suggested she was conserving emotional strength, staying composed while still dealing with the lingering stress of her recovery. Some experts said she was embracing a more formal persona, something expected of a future queen, while others believed she was simply being cautious as she regained confidence in the public eye. Meanwhile, William's changes continued evolving. With King Charles navigating his own health issues, the pressure on William intensified. Suddenly, he wasn't just a prince supporting the monarchy, he was the man preparing to take the throne much sooner than expected. His posture became straighter, his presence more authoritative, and his tone more direct. He walked slightly ahead of Kate during engagements, a small but symbolic shift that hinted at his growing leadership role. This wasn't a sign of emotional distance, it was a reflection of the enormous responsibility quietly settling onto his shoulders. But the biggest surprise came when the couple finally appeared together after weeks of speculation. Instead of looking tense or disconnected, they shared subtle moments of warmth, tiny smiles, gentle touches, and quiet exchanges that seemed to say, "We're okay." These weren't the expressive, carefree gestures they once showed in their younger years. They were smaller, more private, almost coded. Their affection didn't disappear, it matured. It became something they shared quietly rather than openly. For many fans, these moments proved that the shift wasn't about conflict. It was about evolution. As more royal experts weighed in, a clearer picture started to form. The couple wasn't drifting apart, they were adjusting to the reality of a changing monarchy. King Charles's health has raised questions about the future, and William and Kate are stepping into roles that require more composure, restraint, and formality. Their body language reflects that. They're more focused, more cautious, and more controlled in how they present themselves. It's not distance, it's responsibility, it's preparation. The pressure they face isn't only internal. They're navigating intense public attention, online speculation, and constant analysis. Every gesture is dissected, every expression magnified. Kate's shift toward a steadier, more reserved demeanor could very well be a shield, a way to protect herself from the endless scrutiny that surrounds her. And William's sharper, more assertive posture signals that he is becoming the anchor of the monarchy's future, whether he feels fully ready or not. There's also another layer to all of this, their partnership. William and Kate have always handled challenges as a pair, but the weight of recent events may have pushed them into new roles. William is stepping up publicly, while Kate conserves her emotional energy and presents a calm, queen-like exterior. It's a balancing act, one that requires trust, communication, and a shared sense of purpose. And if you watch closely, their quiet interactions suggest that they're aligned, even if their body language looks different than it used to. Their relationship now feels more mature, more grounded. They're not newlyweds anymore. They're not carefree young parents. They're the couple that will one day represent the monarchy. And as that future gets closer, the expectations on them grow heavier. It's natural that their public persona would shift to match the moment. The truth is, the change in their body language isn't a sign of trouble. It's a sign of transition. It reflects stress, yes, but also resilience. It reflects responsibility, pressure, and the quiet reality that their lives are moving into a new phase with higher stakes than ever. They're becoming the leaders the monarchy will depend on, and that shift is unfolding in real time. So when people ask why William and Kate seem different, the answer is simple. They're evolving. Their gestures are more controlled, their expressions more focused, and their presence more serious. They're preparing for a future that's approaching faster than anyone expected. And if this is only the beginning of their transformation, the world may soon see an entirely new version of the Prince and Princess of Wales, a version shaped by responsibility, strengthened by adversity, and united by the weight they carry together. And yet, even with all of this evolving around them, there's something else happening beneath the surface. Something that only becomes clear when you look at the way they interact during the quieter moments. When the cameras aren't flashing and the crowds aren't pressing in, William often leans slightly toward Kate, as if checking in without saying a word. Kate does the same, offering brief glances that carry more meaning than any public statement. These tiny cues show a couple who are still deeply connected, but who are carrying their connection differently now, more privately, more protectively. One moment in particular stood out during a recent engagement. As the two walked into an event, the cameras captured Kate hesitating ever so slightly at the entrance. William immediately adjusted his pace to match hers, slowing down without making it obvious. It was a small act, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it, but it said everything about the bond between them. They're not drifting, they're adapting. And in the face of overwhelming scrutiny, adapting may be the strongest thing they can do. Another detail people keep mentioning is how both William and Kate are becoming more observant of their surroundings, especially during crowd-heavy events. Instead of engaging with each other as much, they're scanning the environment, paying attention to security, watching the energy of the audience. Some experts believe this reflects a new level of training and awareness, something that senior royals take on when they know they're moving closer to the center of the monarchy. It's another sign that their roles are shifting not just emotionally, but operationally. Despite all this seriousness, though, new moments of warmth still break through. Kate's smile during a recent outing was softer, almost relieved, as if she was grateful to simply be back on her feet. William, standing beside her, seemed lighter than he had in months. Their eyes met for just a second, but it was enough to remind people why they've always been seen as the steady heart of the royal family. Even under immense pressure, they find ways to stay connected, ways that feel authentic, even if quieter than before. What's happening between them isn't a story of distance. It's a story of stepping into a future they didn't expect to face so soon. It's about carrying personal challenges while being watched by millions. And it's about learning how to remain a team even as the weight of the monarchy grows heavier by the day. Their body language may look different now, but that difference doesn't point to weakness. If anything, it reveals the strength of two people who know the world is changing around them and who are preparing together to meet that change.